Hi, my name is Jeff Clark. I'm with Burnaby Firefighters, Local 323, Vice President. This trip to Kathmandu started when Captain Mark Poland, retired member of our job, who has a search dog, phoned me Saturday morning and says, we got to go to Kathmandu. There's been a big earthquake. We got to get the guys together. I said, okay, Mark, let me phone around and see if we can get some flights. Talked to Cathay Pacific Airlines, and they said, you know what, we think we can get you to Kathmandu. I said, great, can you check the flights? We're going to have about 22 people. In the meantime, we had a list of 24 people on a list for search and rescue. I started making the phone calls. I said, look guys, we got to get out right away if we're going to go. I'm going to hear back from Cathay Pacific. We've got, you're going to have to pay your own way there, about $2,000, and cover your own shifts at work, and any other incidentals we're going to have to pay for. Within 3 hours, the Burnaby Firefighters who step up, New York, people might remember we sent 120 firefighters out of 240 to New York. Right off the bat, we had 17 of them step up to go. We then got a call back from Cathay Pacific, said, you know what you guys are doing is the right thing. We're going to pay for your flights. And so I said, guys, it's a go. I had 22 guys who we were with the Canadian Medical Assistance Team, so we had to get 3 of them on there, and we had 2 mission firefighters who had 2 dogs. So we had 3 dogs, we had a total of 22 ready to go. So we needed insurance. Nobody could get a hold of Pacific Blue Cross. Burnaby Firefighters go to a lot of events in the year, so I contacted Paul Holden, who gave me Lisa Mears' number, contacted Pacific Blue Cross, and they came back and said, every member that's going, we're going to give you guys free insurance for all the guys going to expire May 11th. Our guys now were all covered, ready to go. Then we hopped on the plane at 2 o'clock in the morning, got into Hong Kong. While we were on the plane, Cathay Pacific took care of all our licenses. The dogs have never ever flown in the cabin for Cathay Pacific. And so we said, look, the dogs can't be below in the cargo, because if the dogs are below in the cargo, they're going to be stressed when they get there, and they're search dogs. We had 3 search dogs. They said, well, we'll see what we can do, but dogs aren't allowed into Hong Kong airport. Cathay Pacific was phenomenal. They took care of all, told us where to go get our permits, what to get. The dogs were on the plane. People were coming to see the dogs, and this lady came up and she says, hi, my name's Barbara, I'm with the SPCA, I'm a director. I can't believe you guys got dogs on the plane. Where are you going? We told her. She said, oh, by the way, I'm with Milwaukee Tools. My husband and I own it. If you would need any tools, let me know. And I said, well, actually, we got to get a generator because there's no power there. She says, okay, I'll take care of it. So we get off the plane, and we're getting ready to board the plane to Kathmandu. And Milwaukee comes up with 2 carts, 5 guys wearing red shirts coming in, and they've got $10,000 worth of tools for us. Another private citizen, Joanne Wong from Hong Kong, she showed up at the airport with over $3,000 worth of tools. And now all the media is all around us asking us where we're going. We get deployed. TELUS came on board and said, we know what it's going to cost. That was 157 gigabytes alone, and they sponsored our phones and our iPads for us. Associated Fire and Safety came on board, sent us with gloves over. Our fire department gave us all the equipment to take. If we didn't have that equipment, we wouldn't have been able to go. We ended up leaving a lot of our equipment behind, because a lot of the places were devastated. How could you have a family who got a plastic bag over their head and walk away and come home with their tents, come home with their generators? So we gave them to families who needed them. Those families took those generators and they'll use them, they'll pass them on to another family. So we don't know how long it's going to take for the government funding, but we know we left a huge impact from Burnaby Firefighters, because we left our shovels, we left our crowbars, we left our soil saws, we left our tents. And to see little kids, to put it in perspective, running up the road when they don't have a house, and they're 4 years old and they got a teapot in their hand and a pot, and their job's to go get the water because mom and dad are too busy pulling bricks and wood out of the rubble. You go, wow, little kids are running by saying hi and they got nothing. So it puts everything into perspective. If we didn't have the hard work of our crews on Burnaby Fire, our guys did a phenomenal job. Burnaby Firefighters, Local 323 is totally proud of all the guys. Our fire chief is at the airport. You've probably seen that. And to know that we were also involved in a rescue. And a lot of people will remember the name of Tamara. She Tamara McLeod. She was right across Canada. She was hiking with 3 other people on the day of the slide. The family hadn't heard from her, and luckily she was able to use a satellite phone. So we heard when we landed that there was a satellite phone that they had the map coordinates. Well, we were staying right on the Army base next to the airport. We became very good friends with the Lieutenant Colonel and the Major, and we said, do you ever have any downtime in your helicopters? Because they were being used right away for rescue of people where you knew exactly where they were and if they were injured. He said, what do you got? And we said, we got map coordinates of a Canadian, an Australian, and 2 people from Holland. He says, Jeff, give them to me. Gave them to me. He says, can't guarantee we'll rescue her today, but she'll be out by tomorrow. We contacted the mother in Calgary. The mother was ecstatic. There was highs and lows because she was supposed to arrive at the airport that night. She didn't. The mom was in tears, not knowing what happened. We were at the airport the whole next day. Found out that they had to walk 12 hours to get to the next town because the road was wiped out to get a bus, and that she was coming in that night. So to phone the mom back and say, you know what, we've got your daughter. She's in Kathmandu and she's safe was one of our highlights, to know that Burnaby Firefighters have that relationship with people, and we were able to get an army from the Nepalese army to take a helicopter and rescue Canadian, Australian, and 2 from Holland. So that kind of topped the trip off, knowing that we had a family from Canada. We weren't going there knowing that, but when we got there, we were able to help. So we're looking forward when she gets back. She's got another 3 months over in India. When she gets back, meeting her at the airport, because we've never met her, and taking her to the fire hall for lunch. So we'll let you know when that's going to happen.
Nice. Now tell me, what happens now that you're back?
Well, our families, we got to spend time with our families. Anytime you're going to a place that's devastated like that, it was like when we went to New York. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We were there where buildings were. If a tremor came up, we would have been gone too. So right now it's downtime, spend with the families and the ones who supported us to get there.
We saw a lot of things there, but we had a big impact, a positive impact on the people, and that's what we're after. The things that are that stick in your mind. The people of the Nepalese people are very good people. You don't see people riding in the street, no looting, or nothing like that. They're very polite. They've lost their homes in a lot of cases, and they're very good to us. That was, I think, stuck with me the most. The devastation is really incredible. The type of buildings they use led to that. The stone with no mortar, that kind of thing. It's a big rebuilding process, but I'm sure they can do it.
I guess if you had to just sum it up in one word, it would be devastation. Especially in the outlying parts of Kathmandu. The city itself obviously suffered extensive damage. 7-story buildings collapsed, but then other parts of the city were up and operating, trying to make a living. But then the outlying cities, just complete devastation, just annihilated and not getting much support. So people living in houses that were completely unstable. We were concerned over our guys to try to recovery or rescue because of the risk of our guys getting in a collapse zone, and there's people still living in those houses because they don't have anywhere else to go. But then the Nepalese people are just such a unique people. They're just so friendly, so respectful. So when we were working on these sites, they all would gather around, and it was a different feel than you would see here than Looky-Loos. It was more respect. They have a lot of respect for their deceased, and so they, when they got too close, we'd ask them to back up, and they would back up instantly.
No problem.
Nice to have running water and functioning toilets will be nice.
Yeah.
And obviously the number one thing is just see my family. That'll be the best part.
Yeah, wonderful.